Welcome to Microsoft Excel session. Today, we will be learning about three things: sheet view, zoom, and inputting data. Now that we have already learned what is Microsoft Excel, why do we need to learn Microsoft Excel? We have also learned about the different views that are there. We have learned about how to use those views, the different ribbon menus that are there in Microsoft Excel. We are going to learn a very specific view, zoom in views, and also how to input data in Microsoft Excel. So let's begin our session today. So we will start with sheet view, followed by zoom, and then followed by input data. Sheet views are an innovative way of letting you create customized view in an Excel worksheet without being disrupted by others. You can set up a filter to display only the records that are important to you, and also can set up multiple sheet views on the same worksheet. Now, let's put an example. Let's say you're working on a large set of data with your team, but suddenly the table shrinks and you are unable to finish your work. You're unable to see your data and your data has got lost. So what you do is you create customized views for yourself. Whatever cell edits are going on will still go on. However, the cells are viewed and whatever the formulas have been used will still be there. But you have a separate view for yourself, which you have customized for your needs. So you can sort, filter the data, and work on it. So how do you add a sheet view? Sheet view can only be found in the view ribbon menu, right? So this is something that is there in the view ribbon menu. Once you apply the sort and the filter, then you can automatically save it as a temporary view, right? So once you have sorted and filtered your data, you save it as a temporary view. And that temporary view, then you can use it as a sheet view, right? So let's see how do we work with sheet view and where can we locate sheet view. So we'll go back to Microsoft Excel, the file that we were working on. And as you see, there is, this is all the ribbon menus, right? We'll go to view, and this is the sheet view. For example, I'll put some numbers here. So I'm inserting numbers here. Insert all the numbers first. So let me insert the numbers first. So now that I have inserted all the numbers, what I can do is I can, let's say, create a sort or a filter here. So you go back to home and you add sort small to largest, and same here as well. So this is done, and go to view, and you have to save this as a temporary view. Once you save this as a temporary view, then you can use the sheet view. Now use sheet view when you have larger sets of data. This is a much more smaller sample in terms of the data. Use sheet view when there is larger sample of data. And what you can do is you can either save it or you can save it as a new view or you can apply options also there. So sheet view option sort of helps you in creating and customizing your own views. And it is very important because let's say if you have about 10 parameters or 20 parameters here, and you have about 100 to 200 sets of data, you and then there are other people are also working on the same data. It will be really difficult for you to, you know, keep a track of your work and the analysis that you are doing. So if you are doing really in-depth analysis, it is always better to use sheet view for that. You can also switch between the sheet views. So let's say, once you create a sheet view and you have other multiple sheet views that are applied in that data, you can also switch back. That does not mean your work will get hampered or your work won't get saved. It will get saved, and also you will be able to work on multiple sheet views at the same time. So that is something that you can do with the help of sheet view. The next is the zoom menu, right? Now, when we hear the word zoom, we already know that it means zooming into a certain part of the text or increasing to see what the text is written. See, you can zoom with the help of the magnifying glass, right? So you can use that magnifying glass option that you would find and you will be able to zoom. But you can also get a close-up view of data of a certain selected part. So what is the zoom menu? The zoom command in view ribbon menu is used to get a close-up view in the document. Yeah. So when you're seeing the document, because you're inserting large sets of data, you might minimize the screen or the screen size of Excel. But what you can do with zoom is you can magnify to a certain part and look into it. You can zoom in or zoom out depending on your preference, and also can save a particular zoom setting. Yeah. So let's see what is zoom all about. So we will go back and we will go to Microsoft Excel. Now we are already in view. So in view ribbon menu, you will be able to locate zoom. Here, as you see, is there's 100%. So you can zoom in from here, let's say. So I have zoom into here and you can zoom into this and you can decrease it also as per here. So you see this small task bar which is there just below in the document. Here you will see the magnifying glass. What you can do is you can use this bar to increase the size of this page as well, right? So this is zoom. Now then there's the zoom menu here. So let's say you want to use this. You can do fit to selection, custom, magnification. So let's say you want to do 200 magnification. You do OK. And this is how you can look for it. Yeah. You can again go back. Let's say I want to go back. And then there is zoom 100%. Again, you can zoom into 100% view itself. And then you have zoom to selection. So let's say I'll select this. And I use zoom to selection. And only this range can be seen. And what has happened is this part is zoomed for me, right? But let's say I want to again decrease the screen size. I just want to see this too, this cell range. So select your cell range first. Select it. So let's say these are the ones I want to see. And I go to zoom to selection. I can only see this highlighted part, right? So you have to zoom through, select those part first, select the cell range. Let's say you want to select about this much of cell range, right? And you might have inserted some data here. You can zoom to selection and you can only see this part. So make sure you are using the cell range to magnify into that part. For example, if there is larger sets of data from, let's say, your row column number 7 to column number 15, you can select the column, this many columns, the cell ranges that you want to focus on, and then click on zoom to selection. Now, always remember when you're using zoom to selection that your cell range should be shorter so that you can look into all the selected part of the data instead of scrolling. It should fit in that screen because anyway, you're going to be magnifying the whole part, right? So the whole part has to be magnified. So please make sure that you're selecting a certain part and you're magnifying it, right? So this is how you use zoom to selection. Now that we have learned about zoom menu and view menu, we will get into data. And let's understand about inputting data in Microsoft Excel. Now, there are three methods by which you can input data. The first is the direct input, where you type the data in the cell. The second is the formula bar. So in case you're entering a long equation, sentence, formulas, you can just use the formula bar. And then there is autofill. It helps the user in inserting data or text and number in the cells automatically. So let's say how to do this three. So we will go back to Microsoft Excel. And once we are here, the first thing we will do is input data. So let's say you select a cell and write A, another B, C, D. So you can just keep on writing the cell directly itself. You can even write numbers. You can write anything in the cells, right? So this is direct input. The next is, let's say I want to select this row and column and I want to write here Excel session. You will find this formula bar, right? And we will anyway be going to the formulas for the next session. But you see this formula bar. And in the formula bar, what you have to do is you just have to write. So you select the cell first. So let's say I'm selecting this cell. Then I will click into the formula bar and say today's session is on input, right? So you see this whole thing has been covered. So this whole sentence has been written and the data has been inputted directly with the help of formula bar. You can also put in numbers. For example, equals to 2 plus 2. Right, you enter and your sum has happened. Or let's say you put numbers here. So numbers also can be added, formulas can be added. You can do so many things with the help of formula bar. The next thing is autofill. So let's learn what autofill is about. Now let's say I want to do right 4, 5, 6, 7. Click on to 7. Then there's this a plus sign will come. And you see you can autofill a number. Right? And you can keep on dragging it. And you can drag the numbers. You can also do, let's say, A, B, C, D, E, and you can drag the same in the sideways as well. So it's just not row wise, it can be, it's just not column wise, it can be row wise as well. So you can create and write text and then do autofilling. So this is automatically that is going to be filled. You can also do down, right, up or left also, depending on what text you are inserting and how you are inserting the text. So this is how we are working on the autofill part. So there are three ways. Now that you know how to fill data in Microsoft Excel, how to input data, there are three ways. One, you directly add in the cell. Second, you add in the formula bar and write. And third, you can do autofilling as well, depending on what text or what data you need to be autofilled, right? So this is how you can use inputting data. So today, what we learned was sheet view, zoom, how to use zoom in Microsoft Excel, and how to input data in your worksheet. Now that we have learned this, make sure you're visiting support.microsoft.com to learn more about Excel features. And also, if you get some time, do complete a course on Microsoft Excel in Microsoft Learn. Thank you. Welcome to another session of Microsoft Excel. We have learned about what is Microsoft Excel, why do we need to learn Microsoft Excel, the different ribbon menus that are there, the different page layout, what comprises in Microsoft Excel. So right now, we are going to learn few important features of Microsoft Excel. So let's begin our session for today. We are going to start with formatting data in Microsoft Excel, followed by wrapping text, and then inserting rows and columns. Users can format the data in the cells to draw attention to a specific part of the data. Basic formatting will be able to change the visualization of the data. Users can perform the following formatting functions: change the font, font color, text alignment, change cell borders or fill colors, use cell styles, and adding specific formatting to text and number. Now, when you are using Microsoft Excel, there are certain things that is applicable to any Microsoft products, Microsoft Office products that you would use. For example, if you're in Word, you will be able to change the font styles. Similarly, you can do that in PowerPoint as well as in Excel. But in Excel, inputting data is in a very different format, unlike PowerPoint and Word. You input data in the cells and you can change in the cells itself and add different colors, cell styles, specific formatting related to text and number, etc. So let's see how do we go about formatting data in Microsoft Excel. So we'll go back and go to the Microsoft Excel document that we were using. So this was a document that we were using, and as you see, there are certain things that has been added to the cells already. So let me add a new sheet and let me write something in a cell. So let's say I want to write Microsoft session. Now I'm going to make the cell a bit longer so that it's easier to see. Now, if we have this kind of data in the cell, you can change the font and use different fonts. As you can see, there are different fonts which are available. And you can scroll through and you can use any font that you would want to use depending on your requirement. For example, I prefer using Segwo or Calibri or Open Sans as font. We can change the font size as well. So we can make it 12 or 14. We can either bold it, italicize it, or even give an underline. We can also change the font color to the color that we would want it in. So let's say we put this color and we add bold. So this is how you can format the data that you input in the cells. So let's say you can also do like this. You have put serial number. Yes, a number. Increase this a bit. And now you can select all of them. So you can select all the cells like this. So you see this thicker plus sign. Select all of them. Make it bold at the same time. Put it in the center alignment, middle alignment. Change the color as well. And this is how you can also format all your cells, right? So this is one way to do formatting. You have the different alignments, sizes. You can put it up. For example, let's say you have put name is A, B, D. Now let's increase the width of the cells a bit. So the width of the rows are getting increased. What you can do is select all of them together, put it in the between or put it in the upper alignment. And also you can make it center, middle alignment or left or even right alignment for the same, right? Here you can also increase the size together. You can make it bold. Also make it color. The next thing you have is orientation. You can change the orientation of as well. And you can do formatting cell alignment so that you can select the alignment, select the cell range and change the alignment as well together. So this is how formatting cell work. The next is cell style. As you see that there are different cell styles available. For example, you can choose different headings, styles that are there. You can choose depending on the data and model. In case you are putting status of the work, you can do normal, bad, good, neutral. You can do warning or output. Here also there are different colors that are there. You can also change the color. You can add a new cell style as well. You can format this whole thing. Add a color here, border, fill, protection as well. Depending on how you want the cells to look, you can actually change all the cell styles. So for example, let me choose this color. And as you see, all the cells have a different color. It's just that we can't see the cell border. We can also apply a border here. For example, we can do all borders. If you see the borders are now visible, again you can select like this and all the borders will be applied in all the cells. So the whole cell range that you select, all the borders will be applied here. So this is how you can look into different cells and how it looks like. You can also add specific formatting. For example, here you want this to be highlighted. You can go to cell style and maybe use this. For this part, you can choose, let's say this. Depending on your requirement, you can also change cell styles of each and every cell depending on the data that you have input. So this is how you can change the formatting of cells. The next we are going to learn is wrapping text. If the user wants to enter a long sentence or large set of number or an equation in a cell, it cannot be viewed as the cell width is small. Using the function of wrap text, the text will appear in multiple lines in a cell, and the user can format the cell so that the text is wrapped automatically or manually enable wrap text. User should adjust the column width and the row height to make the inserted wrap text visible. So let's understand what is wrapping text. Now, when we hear the word wrap text, it means that you're wrapping the text to fit in that cell. Now, you see the cell size, and let me write today. I have already crossed the cell size. Now, there is one option is that we increase the cell width, right? The cell height and the cell width, we increase it. But not every time you would want to do that because then all the cell widths needs to be changed. And most importantly, if you have a longer sentence, then you won't be able to change the then you won't be able to fit the data in your screen and you keep on have to be scrolling. To avoid that, what you can do is keep the width as it is and the height as it is, and you go to wrap text. The moment you go to wrap text, you see the whole text has been put into 2-3 lines. You can even change right now the row height and the row width to fit this. So this is available in the home ribbon menu itself. You see this ABC with an arrow sign. This is the wrap text icon. And then you can put it on top or down depending on your requirement. So you see how it looks, how you can wrap a text. For example, this sentence. If we do wrap text, it's already shifted to a second line. That means it's not crossing others. And because sometimes what happens is you might just keep on typing and forget and won't be able to see the other lines because the cell is small and it won't be able to withhold that much of information and you won't be able to see it unless and until you select that cell. For example, if we don't do wrap text here, you have to select this cell to write it here. But you see, now I can see on the Excel session, but that's not the case, right? It's a big sentence here. What you just do is go to wrap text and this whole text has been wrapped in one cell. So there is 2 lines already. Now, this is one way to go to wrap text. The other way is, so let's say I'll put today is Wednesday. And you select this cell, go to right click, format cells, go to alignment, and you can do wrap text. The moment you do wrap text, you can do OK. And you can select this a bit, increase it so that the word gets fit. And this is how you can also do wrap text. But wrap text menu is also available here. In case you do not find it in your home ribbon menu, please click please do right click, selecting the cell where you have input the text, go to format cells, go to alignment and go to wrap text under text control. And once you select wrap text, you can do OK and your text will be wrapped in the cell. So this is how wrap text works. The next, we have inserting rows and columns. Users can add extra rows and columns if required in their worksheet. To insert a row or column, the user locates cell group in home ribbon menu where the function is present. Now, rows and columns sometimes you would require extra, and sometimes you may have forgotten to add a column. So, or you may have forgotten to input data in a certain column which needs to be fit, and you've already created the table and have already inputted the data. Then you can add a row or a column depending on your requirement. So, for example, there are two ways to go about this. One, we go back to Microsoft Excel here, and let's say I have forgotten to add. So I'm going to remove this text. I've forgotten to add here the country. So what you can do is always select the cell before. So I will be inserting country after state. So select the cell before. So here is this, column before. So I'm inserting column and you can go to insert and your column is inserted, right? Again, for rows, let's say you want to add a row, put F, G, select this three and add border, but I've forgotten to add E. What I will do is select F and insert a row. And here I can add E. And this is how you can also go about it. The other way to go about this is, let's say, post email ID I have written. So I've forgotten to add pin code here, right? And I want to add the pin code right after city. The other way to insert a row or column is, so I'll select phone number because I want to add pin code right after the address. Go to insert and you can do insert sheet column. And that's it. You can insert a sheet column as well. Similarly, you can also do, let's say, if put G, I have to add I. So you select this, go to insert. This is already in the home ribbon menu. So you go to insert, click on the drop down and insert sheet rows, and you can just do I. Now, inserting rows and columns is one thing, but you can also insert a cell. So for example, you have written here 5. So I have added. Now I want to add another cell here, right? So what you can do is select this, go to insert cell. So you can do either right or shift cell down or entire row or entire column. So shift cell right. And see this, instead of this city here, I have got a blank cell here. So the data has shifted to the other cell. You can also do the reverse. What you just have to do is select again this, go to insert, insert cell and shift cell down. You can shift it down as well. So depending on where you want the data to be input and you want to insert a cell, you can insert a cell as well. So insert is just not for rows and columns, but also for cells. And also you can insert sheets. Now, you know how to insert sheets. The best way to do is either you can do insert sheets from here, or you can go here and add a sheet here itself with the plus sign. The moment you click on it, you get a insert sheet. So this is how it looks when you are inserting a sheet or inserting rows or columns in Excel document. Now, now that you know about inserting, the same way we can do deleting as well. So let's say I want to delete the all of these things. What you can do, this whole column I want to delete. You can just go to delete, select the column and delete sheet column. Again for row, what you can do is select this row, go to delete and delete sheet rows. You can select this, go to delete and delete cell as well. So this is how you can also delete things in your delete rows or columns or cells in your worksheet. Now that you have understood how to insert rows, columns, how to format text, and how to wrap text, hope this features works for you when you're working with spreadsheet. To understand more about these features in Microsoft Excel, you can visit support.microsoft.com and learn about all these features. Also, if you get some time, do attend a course on Microsoft Learn in Microsoft Excel and earn few extra credits. Thank you. Welcome to another session of Microsoft Excel. Today we will be learning about the different page layouts that are there in Microsoft Excel. So we will be starting with page layout, following with page orientation, then merge size, and print titles. Now, in our previous session, we learned about the different ribbon menus that were there in Microsoft Excel. And in one of them, one of the ribbon menus was page layout. So we are going to take a deeper dive in page layout and understand the different layouts that are easily available to us and how do we use those layouts. So let's begin our session for the day. What is a page layout? The page layout tabs provides commands for the user which helps them in preparing the workbook. Now, we were talking about the views and screens. Similarly, when you want to set up a workbook, when you want to work on a workbook, you would want the page layout to be customized, right? Be it by the orientation, by the size, by the titles, by the breaks, it has to be customized as per your requirement and the way you will be using that document. Now, each workbook will not be the same. It won't have the same templates, it won't have the same content, and it will not have the same formulas as well. So the layout also differs depending on the requirement. So the first things that we are going to look into is the page orientation, followed by the margin size. And the other page layout that we will be looking into is the print titles and page break. So let's see what we are talking about in Microsoft Excel. So we'll go back. And we are already in the page layout menu, as you can see. So the first thing we see is the themes, right? So we were talking about what different themes that you can use. Now this is properly meant when you are, let's say you want to submit a document, a balance sheet, or some sort of a format where you need to put a certain, when you need to put a certain theme or color or fonts or effects, this part comes into your use. Then you have the pet setup, which we will be talking about. where you have the margins, the orientation, the size, the print area, and the print titles and background. Now, here the background can be some sort of an image that you might want to choose. For example, you can put you want to put some sort of a picture of the company or of any previous balance sheet or any such things or bills, maybe like example of bills. You can put it up as a background. Then you have scale to fit. Now, when you're working on the margins, orientation, size, you would also want to check on the width and the height of the cells and also the scale. So all of this can be customized as well. You can do it for one page, 2 pages. You can similarly you can do it for all the pages here as well. And you can also check, like, do you want scale to fit or how do you want the scale to be, right? Next, you have the grid lines and the headings. Now, in case you would want to print, it will be a different grid line or heading. In case you just want to view, it will be in the view mode, which is the default mode. Also, you have bring forward, bring backward. This is more or less same of what we had done in both Word and in PowerPoint, where you can put an image forward or backward. You can select objects from the selection pane. For example, the charts, you can align them properly, group the charts if you want to, rotate them as well. But this part works when you have objects in your document, by the way. It will not work when you just have numbers here. No, it won't work if you just have text here also. You need to have some sort of objects, be it image, be it charts, be it graphs, be it a pivot table, for to use this part of the arrange, right? So the arrange part of the page layout can be only used when you have two or more objects in the work spreadsheet. The next is page orientation. Now, page orientation is of two types, and we have already learned those two types. One is a landscape mode, which makes the orientation makes the page horizontal mostly. And if you have lot of column based data, then I think landscape is the best thing to use. And portrait is the one with the vertical, where you have more data in the rows. Now let's understand with an example. So let's go back to the Microsoft Excel document. So here, let's say you have about the, so here you will have, let's say, about 10 sets of data. So 10 household sets of data. But in the columns, you have more parameters, and let's say you have about 20 parameters and all. Then what you should do is you should change the orientation from here to landscape, right? But let's say you have more data here. You have about 5 or 6 parameters, but about 100 sets of data, right? Which is mostly you're putting in the rows. Then it is always better to make the page a portrait because it will be easier for you to print. So also think in that perspective that how do you want the page to look when you're printing? If you have more data on the columns, keep it landscape. If you have more data on the vertical side, keep it portrait mode. Always. So whenever you are uploading your data and then you see that, okay, my columns are much more, always change the layout to a landscape mode. One, it will be easier for you to see. Second, when you're printing the document, it will be easier for you to check all the parameters together. But you have more data and less parameters, then use portrait because all your data then will be able to come in one page because there's most data in the rows side, not in the column side. Now that we have learned about page orientation, the next we have is margin size. Margin in the workbook is the space between the content and the edge of the page. By default, the margin of the workbook is always set as normal and includes a set of predefined margin sizes. You can adjust the data and fit in the data properly. Now, this is one good thing about Microsoft Excel. You can always customize the margin sizes. You already have a default margin size.
in case you do not want that and you think you would want a bit more of space, be it width wise, which will be for the rows, or the height wise for the columns, you can always change them. So let's see what is there in page margin. So we will go back to the Excel document. And as you see, these are the margins. Once you click into this drop down menu, you have the normal, which is already the default one. Then you have the wide, then you have the narrow, right? Now let's say you want to customize this. You can always do that, be it horizontally or vertically, and also can check on the print preview. So whenever you're customizing and you have already uploaded the data, but you think that, I want to change the margin size a bit, you can always come here and check on the print preview before you're printing the document. One, it will help you in saving your paper because you won't be just printing number of checking on layouts and printing it. Second of all, it also saves your time and effort, because the part of the content that you're getting printed, the data that you're getting printed, at the end of the day you will be able to see that it's fitting or not. So this is how you will be able to do the margin of the page, right? So you can set up your page with the help of this. You can click the help of the options. You can see how the print will look like. You can make it horizontally or vertically. See, you can come on the center of the page in case you would want. You can put the change the cell size. So changing it to 1.25. Once we do this, you see the margin size has already changed in the page. So this is how you can actually change the margin size of your spreadsheet. Next, we have the print titles. If the user has inserted title headings in the workbook, it is important to include those headings in the printed worksheet page. The print title command allows the user to select specific rows and columns to appear in all the print pages. Now, very simply understand that when you are creating a spreadsheet and when you're printing that out, data, unless and until it's really small, it won't fit into one page. There's a chance that it might just get it might get spilled over, and also there can be several other pages. So you might have a 2 or 3 page printout coming in. But you would want the headings to be there, right? You would want the headings to be, and let's say you have certain details which needs to be there in all the pages. Now, how do you do that? With the help of print titles, you will be able to do that. So what you do is, so let's go back. We go to Microsoft Excel and you go to print titles. So you can put the print area here. You can say the rows to be repeated and the columns to be repeated. So let's say I want the row 1 and the column 1 to be repeated. I want the headings to be there everywhere. You can put the print in the way that you would want it to be. Grid lines, black and white, draft quality, row and column heading. You can see the page order. You can put comments can be added at the end of the sheet or displayed in the sheet only, and cell errors. So all of these things can be set up as well. That means you do not have to worry about how to print a spreadsheet. If not, will the title will be coming in all the pages? Can I see the comments? Will I be able to see the grid lines? Will I be able to see the errors that has happened? All of these things can be seen in the printed page as well. And this is how the print titles helps you. It makes your work easy so that you do not have to write the title in every page. You can mention, you can have the certain rows and columns which are required to be there in all the pages to be there as well, because with the help of print title you will be able to do that. So this also saves a lot of your effort and time. Now we have learned about print titles. The next is page break. The page break enables the user print different sections of the workbook in separate pages. Page breaks can be both horizontal and vertical. So one thing you have already learned about page break in Microsoft Word. What is page break? Page break is when I want to add content or want to shift content to a next page, I insert a page break. Similarly, when I want to add content here or want to add a different table or something or shift it to a different page, I can always insert a page break where, let's say, and I can separately print out the page breaks as well. It's not that I have to print out all with the page break. No, you can print out several sections of the page breaks as well. You can reset those page breaks, remove those page breaks, and insert as many as page breaks that you would want in your document. So if you want and you're seeing it's not going to fit and you already want to add it to a next page, use page break there. So that content does not get spilled over and you can show the data in a separate page itself, which looks far more better, by the way. Now that we have learned about the different page layouts, go to support.microsoft.com to understand about the document layout and how to change it. So you will be learning more about it in Excel. Also, when you get some time, do try to finish a course on Microsoft Excel in Microsoft Learn and earn few extra credits. Thank you.
Welcome to another session of Microsoft Excel. So, we have already started learning the different functions and the different features of Microsoft Excel. And today we will be learning the three most exciting functions and features: merge, center, and currency formatting. So we will be learning why are they important? Why is it very important to know how to merge cells, how to make it center, and also how to do currency formatting. So let's begin our session for today. So as I was saying that in today's class, we will be learning about merging cells, center cells, and currency formatting. What is merging cells? Now, before we jump onto merge cells, let's understand something. Yeah, what is merge cells? Can any of you think about a very good example of merge? Merge is a word that you would actually find in a lot of places. For example, you merge one object with another object and make it into a single component or an object, right? Let's say, for example, there are a lot of times when you will hear company A and company B have merged together and created a company C, right? Similarly, this product A and product B has come together and created this fantastic product C. A lot of time, merging is a word that you associate with companies, public bodies, objects, things which, which when merged together, it creates one single entity, one single object. Similarly, you can merge cells together, right? So you take one cell and you add it and you create one single cell out of that. So what is merge cell? Users can merge two or more cells required. What you can do is merge two or more cells required. When the user merges one individual cell with the other, the contents of the first cell will only be present and the rest of the content available in the other cells merged with will get deleted. What happens? So users can only merge two or more cells required. When the user merges one individual cell, so one is that you can merge two or more cells together, right? What you can do is merge two or more cells together. Then when the user merges one individual cell with the other, so if you are merging one individual cell with the other, the contents of the first cell will only be present. Now, let's say you have got a lot of information in your cells, right? But you've decided to merge the right hand cell with the left hand cell. you will only have the information of the left hand cell. Yes. And what happens is the rest of the content which is there gets deleted. Now, here is something that you should be taking a note of and being careful of. Think about merging before you start entering the data. Think about the merging, think about how many cells are you planning to merge and then add data. Or else make sure that you are inserting columns and rows there, right? Insert columns, insert rows so that it's easier for you to merge it instead of just merging it like that without even thinking what happens to the data or information which is already added there, right? So that's very, very important. So now let's go back to uh, Microsoft Excel to learn about merging cells. As you can see, we are back to Microsoft Excel. So now let's put up a heading. For example, I want to write a heading that okay. As you can see that this has already shifted to, sorry, this has already shifted to different cells altogether, right? So there is about, let's say 4 cells, it has spilled over. The content has already spilled over. Now, one way to do is obviously that you drag this and you add it here. So you can drag it and you can add it here. But why am I going to do that? There is no point in doing that, no? Why do I need to drag it and add it there? Instead, what I can do is just go here and merge the cells. So select this and merge cells, right? Again, Control Z and let's see how it's done. You select this, okay? And you see the content has anyway spilled over till here, right? You see this icon, this box icon with 2 arrows going in the sideways. It's called merge and center icon. You go here, go to the third one, which is merge cells, and you merge it. See, it has got merged. Now, why did I decide to merge it? Think about this. Let's go back. Now, you see this heading. One is if it's spilling over to other cells, you can obviously drag this. But do you think it's going to look good if you drag it? Because all the other cells which are there, yeah, all the other cells which are there, that anyway, it's the whole size will increase. Doesn't make any sense, right? The whole size is going to increase and it won't look good. But for example, if I, instead of doing that, yeah, instead of doing that, I select this thing and merge it, then it looks better. That means all the cells are in their same shape. There is no disproportionate cells, like one cell is stretched so long and other cells are like thin. No, that is not the case. All the text is also there, so you can read the text also. It's not wrapping here because you can also wrap, but wrap means that there are 2 3 lines. Heading is something that you would always prefer in one line, right? For example, if you're writing address, obviously you can do one thing is where when you add the address, you can wrap the text so that all the address fits in that box. Whereas for a heading, there is no point. When you are writing the heading, there is absolutely no point in making dragging the cells, right? It does not look good. So instead of that, what you can do is wrap this. Now let's say I want to add the information here. So I'll start writing the information. Right? So I have already added the details. Now, for example, I have decided that I want to add, I want to drag this. I don't want to drag it. Instead, I want to merge this and this and use it as one column, right? I want to merge address and roll number and want to make it one column. The moment you select this and you go here and you merge it, you see that a warning comes to you. Merging cells only keeps the upper left value and discards other values. So what you see is merging cells, as in if we are planning to merge these cells on the upper left value, this value will be there and the other values will be discarded. Once you click OK, as you can see that the address right now is one column, right? It's one column, one cell, and these two cells have become one cell. Now, if you see, and let's be very specific to it, it's not the whole columns have become one cell, one column or something like that. It's just that the two, sorry, two cells which were there beside each other, they have become one cell. Now, if we do Control Z, obviously you will retrieve the data. But isn't it much better that if you select this, yeah, or you select this and you insert a sheet column here and then use it? Well, this serves a lot of purpose because then you can just add the content right here and it will be easier for you to write. So, three things to follow. One, if your data is spilling over to other cells, okay, and if it's a heading or a title, use merge, okay. See the number of cells it's spilling over and merge it. It makes more sense than wrapping the text there. Second of all, whenever you are thinking of taking one column's data, another column's data, and thinking about merging it to make two cells or something, for example, I selected this one and I selected the phone number which was here and decided to merge it. What happened was that it became one cell, right? It is one cell, but I lost the data at the beginning, right? Phone number wasn't visible. Always add a row or column before you're thinking of merging things. If you already have data, add rows, add columns there because that will help you out a lot in terms of, when you are trying to add, do this merging, right? So that actually helps. Now, let's see what are the other merge which is there. The other thing that you see is merge across. What is merge across? So merge across is when you select the cells in the same row in one large cells. For example, I want to merge it. Do you think it is possible to merge this number of cells? Yes, it is actually possible to merge this number of cells. In that way, as you can see, you can merge cells like, you can merge cells like this, right? As you can see, there are like, you can merge it like this. You can merge it like this. or you can merge it like this. So there are lot of options for you to merge your cells in a certain format, right? So this is how you should pick and merge your cells. This is all about merging cells, right? Now, let's see what is center then. We have learned about merging cells. We know how to merge cells. Now we are going to learn about center. So let's go back to the presentation. Center cells. User can center align the text inserted in multiple cells without merging cells. The text must be entered in the leftmost cell of the selected range. User must click the cell range and go to Format Cells from the pop-up menu where the command center across selection under the Alignment tab. Right? What is the merge and center now? Now, there are times when you have merged content, right? When you have merged the cells, but you want to make it center already. For example, let's take a title or a heading. Whenever you put a heading, it is always, there's an alignment that is followed. Mostly and most preferred alignment is center alignment for any heading, right? So for that, center align the text inserted in multiple cells. So center align the text inserted in multiple cells without merging cells. Text must be entered in the leftmost cell of the selected range. So for that, the text has to be entered in the leftmost cell of the selected range, and then under the alignment tab, you will see the command center, right? Let's see how to use merge and center here then. So let's go back. And let's say, for example, I'm going to put another heading here. Okay. So let's say my heading will be here I want to write parent teacher meeting. Yeah. Now I can select the cells together, right? And then I can go here and do merge and center. You see, merge and center is the first option. Yeah. So, and then you're merging it. Isn't it nice? And you see, it's already center aligned. Again, let's Control Z it and see. Now we have, it has anyway spilled over. Take this, select it, select all the cells that has been spilled over with the text. Go here, go to merge and center, which is the first option, right? Click on to merge and center, and you see this is already center aligned and it has merged the three cells together. In this way, you can merge and add all the cells together if you would want to, right? So that is very, very important. If you want, you can merge them and you can center align them specifically for your headings, for your titles, for, let's say you want to write this, yeah? And all of them has to be merged together to create one, or however, you are writing this, you can all put all the cells together, like merge the cells together and add the text in a center way. It's not that you merge it first and then you add the center alignment. No, here merge and center happens together. Now there is one thing that you might have seen is unmerged cells. So we did talk about merge and center. We spoke about merge across and merge cells. What is unmerged cells? For example, you see this column. In this column, we have we have merged it. But if we do not want to merge it, if we want the cells to be back, what are we going to do? Come here and unmerge the cells, right? You have to come here and unmerge the cells. Again, if you want to merge the cells together, you have to come here and merge the cells. If you do not want them, then again come here and unmerge the cells from here directly. So in this way, you will be able to merge and unmerge the cells, right? So this is fairly easy, fairly informative, and most importantly, if you understand that merging can be used, so you do not, one is that you're not going to be dragging and increasing the length of the cell. No, this is not happening. The next thing is using merge specifically for headings for titles, right? And the places you think merging cells are required. Let's say you want to give a note here, like after a table, merge it here, merge the whole thing here, and then start adding the note. But do not spill it over. There is no point in spilling over the content because it won't look good, right? And then the other thing that you also have to be taking care of is whenever you are merging, make sure that there is no content, there is no data. Do not just blindly merge things. For example, if I am merging this, again, that warning message tells you that it's going to discard other values, and it actually discards the other values. So instead of that, what you need to do is make sure that you are adding a row, separate row or a column here, and then you're merging it, which makes more sense, saves more of your time, by the way. You do not have to do the second level of if you lose the data, and if you haven't pressed Control Z as an undo, you might lose half of the data or all the data which is there in those sets, and you would not want that, right? So keeping sure and ensuring the fact that you will be thinking about merging before entering the data, or if you have entered data, add the row and the column before you're merging it. Yes, and for the center part, you merge it and the content becomes center aligned, right? So this is about merge and center. Now let's go back. And the next thing that we have is currency formatting. What do we have next is currency formatting. User uses currency format to correctly display monetary values. What is used currency format for? User uses the currency format to correctly display monetary values. In this format, decimal points will be aligned to the column, currency sign will appear next to the first digit in the cell, and it will not be aligned with the other currency symbols in the column, right? So decimal points will be aligned to the column. Currency cell sign will appear next to the first digit in the cell, and it will not be aligned with the other currency symbols in the column. Yes. Now let's see how to use currency formatting. Now, when you hear currency formatting, what do you think? That means, let's say you are a salesperson, yeah, and you have decided to write a project, the sales that you have done from the month of January till July, right? Now you're not going to write INR, Indian currency, Indian rupee. Are you going to write INR everywhere? No. Instead, you can actually put the rupee sign there itself with the help of currency formatting. Let's see how to do that. So let's go back and we'll go to Microsoft Excel. Now, let's say I'll take another sheet, will be easier. Let's say there are products. So products, prices. Yeah. Now for products, I'll put the product's name. Here I'll write 50, 75, 45. Yeah, so I have put all the prices of the product. Now you see this, select all of them. Yeah, I've selected all of them. And you see this sign, the dollar sign here, accounting number format. So this is in home ribbon menu. In number itself, you will be able to check on the accounting number format, irrespective of whatever and whichever version you are using of Microsoft Excel. This will be present in the home ribbon menu, right? So you go here and you see there is, you can see dollar, euro, pound, yen, uh, all this, different currency signs are already there. What you also see is something, the option called the more accounting format. So you go here and what you do is, instead of here, as you can see, the decimal places too. So it can be 50.00. And instead of the symbol, you can look for the Indian currency. So let's look for the Indian currency here. And as you can see the Indian currency here, right? So select on this and then do OK. And as you can see, the currency have been added. See, right, the currency have been added to each and every cell where the money, where we have put the prices. Similarly, now if you want to format it to a different account symbol, different currency symbol, you can do that as well. For example, you have Bitcoin here. You have different places, dollar sign, currency from all over the world. You will be able to find their symbols here. Because let's say if you are working in a company which does a lot of sales everywhere in the world, it's a global company, it's a global company which has all products spread all across the world. That means when you are following the currency, you will be following their currency and selling them, right? Like if today company A, which has its presence all over the world, decides to sell its product A in the market of India, it's going to price it as per the Indian currency, right? It's not going to be dollars or in euros or in a different, in Canadian dollars maybe, or in different currency, right? That will not be possible. Instead, what happens here is you can, they will price it in Indian currency. So for that reason, you will be able to you will be able to buy that product. Now, everywhere, whenever you're creating the sales report, that product A has been sold here in India in this much amount, in US in this much amount, you will be putting there. So for US, you're not going to be putting Indian currency. You will be putting in dollar sign how much they have sold. What is the total sale? Similarly, in elsewhere, you will be using their currency format. So currency formatting is very, very important in that way. With the help of currency formatting, you will be able to, add the currency, appropriate currency, which is required. You do not have to write INR 50, like you do not have to write INR 50.00. No, that you do not have to write, right? Instead, what you can do is just use the this sign. Just use this sign and you will be able to do the accounting number format. Now, the other way to do it is also right hand click. Yes, once you do it, you can come here and so right hand click and format cells, and you will be able to do it as well. Just have to make sure that you are formatting the cells. You go to format cells. Again, you select the cell, click on right, go to format cells, and you see accounting here as well with the symbol already provided and the decimal. You can also increase the decimal to 3 if you want to, but this is as per your requirement. 2.2 places after point after decimal, 2 places are always advisable, because if there is a some collection in the coins, then that also needs to be recorded. So 2 places are always preferable. 3 places, if it's there, do avoid it. It only happens when you're doing a lot of mathematical calculations or statistical calculations, right? Yeah. So this is all about currency formatting. Isn't it interesting? Every time right now, if you are creating a sales report or if you want to show that this much of things have been sold, you can actually just directly go and put the currency there, right? Now, that we have learned today about merge, about center, and about currency formatting. Make sure that you go to microsoftlearn.com to know more about Microsoft Excel, do a small course on Microsoft Excel and earn few extra credits, which will help you. Also, do visit support.microsoft.com to know more about how to merge and unmerge cells and how to format numbers of currency. In case you want to know more about the Excel functions and features, support.microsoft.com is the place for you. Thank you for today's session. Welcome to another session of Microsoft Excel. Till now, we have learned about different functions and features of Microsoft Excel. And today, we will be learning about two most important functions. One, print view, and the next is sorting. Now, print view is something that helps us in printing our Microsoft Excel sheets properly. As you know, we have a workbook and then there's a spreadsheets and then there can be different spreadsheets, right? It is very important for us to know about how to do the sorting and printing of the Microsoft Excel sheet. So let's begin our session for today. So the first thing that we will be learning is print view, and then we will be learning about sorting. So what is print view? Users can preview worksheets, pages before printing. This helps the user in avoiding unexpected results or wasting pages. Now, every time you print a document, a PowerPoint presentation, a worksheet, a spreadsheet, or a workbook, there's few things that you should know. One, you should print out only the information that is required. Do not just print out each and everything unless and until it's required. Specifically for people who are analyzing data, who are working with larger sets of data and all, you know the moment you start printing, there will be several sheets of data which will be coming because you're not going to be analyzing just 10 rows of data or 10 columns of data. You might be analyzing about 100, 200 or more than that. Now, it is always better to select the part and print it out. Be it for a document or for a presentation, print out only the part that is required. Mostly that you can be able to save paper here. Also, one thing that you should know is you can work around that data sheet and in case any changes require. Now think about the situation. You have decided to print out data from January till April. But for the printing part, what you need to understand is the moment you print out that part, you see that there is a lot of problem in the printing because you have printed out the data but it's incomplete or that there are hardly any space and most it looks overlapping. And thirdly, if there is a mistake, you might have to print it out again. So it is always better to do a print view before you are printing it out on the printing out the pages. Now let's see how to do a print view for printing out the pages in Microsoft Excel. So let's go back to Microsoft Excel. And we are already here in Microsoft Excel document. Now you see here, there is File. So in the File ribbon menu, once you click here, the first thing that you see is Print, right? So in File ribbon menu, you see Print here. So go to Print and you see the print is already here. Now, how do you use the print. So the first thing that you see is print active sheets. That is the sheet that you're working on. Let's say you have decided to take a set of data into a next spreadsheet which you require to print, in which you think something that you need to work on a printed sheet. What you do is add the paper. So go to add a separate spreadsheet and then add the data here. So you can add the data. For example, let's say if you are adding a data for, let's say for a certain period of time. So you will add it here and then you go to file, go to print, and this only selected sheet which is there, the only selected sheet which is there, you can print that. For that reason, that part of the data that you require will be printed. The next is print an entire workbook. That means all the spreadsheets that are there. So let's see, you have 4 spreadsheets here. Then you will be printing out all the 4 spreadsheets here. So you're understanding what happens here is you will be printing out all the 4 spreadsheets here. So when you are printing an entire workbook, that means all the spreadsheets that are there, all the spreadsheet which consist of the workbook will be printed. Now, this is where you have to think that do you require all of the spreadsheets, or is it that you can make do with 1 or 2 spreadsheets from the workbook? Because that means your data, there will be a lot of pages and all those pages might just get wasted as well because if you don't need them. So always think twice before you're printing an entire workbook. And then is the selection, which is if I have a current selection, I am going to print that. For example, a part of data is only what I am planning to print, not any other thing, nothing else. I'll just print a correct selection. For example, I can do 2, 2, 3. And my only this 2 spreadsheet, like I was telling you, instead of printing out the whole workbook, unless and until you are determined and you are confident that that is what you require, you can only print out these 2 spreadsheets, which you know that is going to be required. And later on, obviously, you can print out the entire workbook or the spreadsheets that you think are also required there. But to determine that which are the spreadsheets which are required, which are the ones you will be printing, you can only print the selection. The next thing that you see is collating, as in, do you want it to be collated like this, or do you want to be uncollated? So collated and uncollated is a place where will all these 3 spreadsheets come together, or it will be different. Collating of the spreadsheets, that means putting it together. So you have the collating option as well. Then you have the portrait option. Do you want it in, or which orientation do you want your page to be in, portrait or landscape? Now by default, your printing will always be in the portrait orientation. Like remember that your documents are always in a portrait orientation except slides, right? But here you can also make it landscape because with, so let's say you do not have much rows but more columns. Makes more sense, right, to have a landscape orientation to fit all the sets of data because you do not have many rows of data. Always when you see that there is not many rows of data but many columns of data, try and switch it over to landscape orientation and not portrait orientation. I know that you might have to turn the page to check your data, but at least in space wise, it's not that there's one sheet and one another sheet and you put it together and then you're going to go through it. No, it will be everything will be in one sheet itself. So then there is landscape orientation. The next thing that you will be seeing is the size. What is the paper size? Now, if you remember in Microsoft Word, what is the default paper size? Letter. You have tabloid, you have legal in case you're doing it for any legal purpose. You have a statement if it's executive. A3, A4, A5 is something that you guys are already familiar with. A4 is always the normal way that we print out a sheet. A3 is a bit more larger than A4, and then there is A5, which is smaller than both A3 and A4. And then you have B4 and B5 as well. So understand that whenever you're printing out the paper, you have to know what is the page size that you would want. And the next is the margin. Now, margin is something that you also know about. Why? Because margin is very important. You do not want that, you do not want that everything to be at the edge, right? The data to be at the edge. So it's always better that there is a margin in the page when you're printing it out. It can be narrow, it can be wide depending on the amount of data. Also, it can be normal as well, which is by default setting. After that, you can also see if you want to scale it to an actual size or fit the whole sheet on one page, fit all the columns in one page. So this is very important, and this is somewhere where I struggle a lot, specifically when you are working with large sets of data. Anybody who has worked with large sets of data, you will realize that fitting all the columns when you're collecting surveys or when you're collecting data and you have hundreds of parameters or categories and let's say 200, 300 rows, it is difficult to fit it in one page. Most importantly, you won't be able to see anything on that page because everything will be really tiny. And you know how much strain that causes in your eye. So if you are planning to fit all the columns in one page or all the rows in one page, think about it. I know you might be thinking that, okay, you know what, I'm doing something, I'm saving paper here, but you do realize that it will be extremely difficult to read if you have really larger sets of data because collating and fitting 100 rows, 200 rows is difficult. And you really have to be like reading small letters then, like really tiny size of letters. And you would not want to do that, right? So instead that you can always try seeing that what is the amount of data that you require, how much that you require, and how do you plan to use it, and how do you want to print it out. So always determine printing and thinking that how much do you need before you print out the documents. Do not just print out blindly because you think that, okay, once I print it out, it will be easier for me. No, that won't be the case. Also, there is fit all rows in one page. If you want to fit all the rows in one page, you will be able to do that as well. You have that option as well. You will be able to fit all the rows in one page. And then there is a customized option as well, which is provided. So you can customize it as well, depending on your need, right? So that option is also there. So in this way, whenever you're printing out a page, it is always better to do a print view. The moment you do a print view, you know that how to print out the page, and it is really helpful for you. So always before you print out the page, know what you're printing, how much data do you require, do you think it is possible to fit all the rows, all the columns in the page? Should I be doing that as well? Like, is it advisable to do that? So think about all these things. Think about how much do you need, how much data do you need? Do you need the entire workbook? Because sometimes there can be a necessity of printing out the entire workbook and then Yes, it is a necessity, so you're going to be doing that. But other times, only print out the parts that you think are required, right? So this is about the print view in Microsoft Excel. Yeah. So let's get back to the presentation. Now we will go to another important part, which is sorting data. Now, anybody who has worked with data, any of you who has already, did some of the activities on Excel, sorting and filter is very important. And right now we are going to only talking about sorting data, but understand this, that sorting is one of those important filter functions of Excel, which sort of helps us when we are analyzing data. Now, sorting can be for any number of reasons. For example, let's take this thing. If you want to, let's say, in a class and you are a teacher, you have put the names of the students and the ages of the students. You would want to categorize the name of the students as per the age, like from smaller to bigger, right? To do that, you are thinking that, okay, manually, if I need to shift the data, so the first is the 5-year-old, then is the 6-year-old, then is the 7-year-old. Well, that's a lot of time going to be taken. But sorting is one of those functions which makes your life superlatively easy. Yes, what you can do is you will be able to sort it out just with the help of sorting function. You will be able to sort out that data easily from the smaller age to the larger age. So what is sorting data? Users can sort information in the worksheet, right? You can sort information in the worksheet, rearrange the data to find values quickly. See, this is where the main thing lies. You will be able to rearrange the data to find values quickly. Depending on the data, can sort a range, table of data, or one or more columns of data. So depending on the data, you can sort a range, table of data, or one or more columns of data. Now let's learn how to sort a data. So let's go back. Now let's say this is my page, and this is the data. So let me put some. So it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, G, right? I'm going to delete this row, this column, and put the cost price here. So let's say I'll put 75, 89, 45, 98, 29, 46, 76, 5, 32, 90. So I have put all the cost price and the product names here. Now let's say if I want to sort this out, what do I do? Right? I want to sort this two out depending on the highest price to the lowest price. So you see sort and filter here, you see A to Z with a funnel. Yeah, you go here and you can go to either sort A to Z or Z to A. So if you do sort Z to A, see this is happening. It has gone from top to bottom. You can control Z this. But this is the easy part, no? If you want to do it serial number wise, or for example, you want to do it as per the last number first and the first number at the last, ascending order, descending order, alphabetically. That is the most easy part. What we will learn is the custom sort, right? So you go to custom sort and you add, let's say, cost price, and you say smallest to largest, okay? And then you again add a level, product name, and do A to Z, right? So your cost price is smallest to largest and your product name will be A to Z, or you can do custom list. Okay. So this is A to Z. Okay. And do this. Now you see the smallest number, the smallest cost price is first, followed by the second lowest cost price, followed by the third lowest cost price, fourth lowest. And in this way, if you can see that all the product names and cost prices have got sorted. This is easy, right? Again, let's take another example. We'll put names and ages. More easier to understand. So here I'm going to put A, B, C, D, E, F. Here I'm going to put 8, 9, 17, 10, 12, 5, right? So I've put. Now what you do is select this 2 right here, go to sort and filter, go to custom sort. So you have to go to custom sort. Yeah, go to custom sort. The first thing that you can put is age, and you can put smallest to largest or largest to smallest. Add level followed by names. You can either put A to Z or Z to A depending on how you want, right? Do OK, and you see whoever is the largest age, as in whoever is older, you will be able to see them first, followed by at the last whoever is the smallest in that group. So sorting out a data, and this you will be able to do with hundreds of rows. Basically, it's not that you have to figure out, but you have to make sure that whatever it is complementing with, it is done properly. Most importantly, whenever you're going here to do a custom sort and adding levels to it, make sure that you are adding those levels and making sure that, because there's going to be an impact in those data sets of data. So let's say if you're planning to filter out all of them, filter out or sort out all of them. Specifically, if you're planning to sort out the data and you want all of the data, that means all the rows have to be rearranged properly. All the columns have to be rearranged properly. Make sure you're adding them. It's not that you do 2 and the rest of them remains the same. No, that should not be the case, because then you might, one, there is room of error. Yeah. Secondly, your values will be mismatched. Now, physically, manually, just changing each and every value back to the same where you're working with hundreds and 200 sets of data is difficult. It is absolutely difficult. So give yourself some time, do it slowly, but sort out data. Sort out data properly, because that will help you out a lot. Right? So this is about sorting data. So I hope sorting data is easy and you have understood how to sort data properly. Practice sorting data, because the moment you have larger data sets, you actually know how to go about it, right? So I hope you understood what a sorting data is. Now, to know more about sorting data, where do you need to go? Yes, you need to go to support.microsoft.com to know more about sorting data in a range or a table. Sorting data is an important function, and it is very, very important for all of you, whoever is working with Excel, to know about sorting. It can be a basic function, but it has its use in every time you have to analyze data. Right? So sorting data is something that you should always know and use. And then if you want to know more about Microsoft Excel, you want to do a small course, you have some extra time, go to microsoftlearn.com, because that's where you will be able to do an extra course on Microsoft Excel and you will be able to earn few extra credits. Thank you.